Okay, I hope I am audible. Can anyone confirm now? Okay, so welcome to the last day of this particular FTP. So before I start, I would just like to briefly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Maipal Jadeja, associated with MNIT Jaipur Computer Science Department. And since this particular session is more about how effectively one can use AI tools like ChatGPT, I would just like to highlight some of my contributions with respect to AI in education domain. So I've already talked about Python ki Pathshala. And this particular custom GPT was recognized by OpenAI Academy as well as OpenAI. And apart from that, I'm also associated with University of Oxford and one invited talk at MIT Boston. It's the topic was more aligned towards AI in education. What are the state of the art tools which one can use effectively for teacher learning process, right? So with this, let me just focus on today's topic. So what we are going to do now, we have a lot of LLMs, like maybe you already know them or using them, including ChatGPT, Gemini, right, DeepSeek, Grok, so on and so forth. But usually, what we do, right, whenever we interact with this kind of system, we don't know the proper way of interacting with this kind of systems. Usually, we just do just the way we use Google, right? We whatever query we have in our mind, we just put and we give to this particular LLM model, right? So now today we'll try to first formalize what should be the ideal way of interacting with this kind of system, and I will showcase you some concrete examples so that you can appreciate the power of good prompting. Right? So I would like to start with this particular quote. Okay, so maybe I can just put this in the full screen mode. Whenever we talk about any kind of idea, I would say the idea is extremely good if not only it can solve the corresponding problem for which it was designed, but it can solve multiple problems simultaneously, right? So that will be the overall theme of my today's talk. What I'm going to do, whatever I'm going to showcase, that won't be just necessarily kind of address the aspect which you are learning with respect to this particular FDP. It will be applicable to whatever task you can accomplish with LLMs, right? So whatever I'm going to talk about, it will be kind of generic. Depending upon your use case, you will be able to see multiple kind of applications of this insights. And the very first thing which I would like to focus over here is this particular quote from Albert Einstein. If you are from a research domain, then maybe you have read about it, or maybe you understand it, right? What Einstein is trying to say over here, right? It's about, let's say, if you have just 1 hour, and if you would like to solve one particular important problem, right, within that particular 1 hour, then according to Einstein, you should spend first 55 minutes just to identify what is the correct research question which you are trying to solve, right? And that this showcase identification of correct question is kind of equally important as solving the problem, right? So if you know what you want, then you can get it. It's not just about prompt engineering; it's also about life. So mainly, what I'm trying to highlight over here is what you want to achieve or what you want to achieve in the context of prompt engineering, I should say, or with respect to LLM. You must be able to visualize the end product in your mind before even you start, right? So maybe we can take some couple of examples. Like, let's say you are planning a trip to, let's say, Goa, or maybe some out of the India station or country. Then you plan very meticulously, right? And once the plan is ready, then actual execution won't take much time. Maybe for 1 week trip, you will be planning since last 2 months or something, right? So once good planning kind of has been accomplished, then execution will be kind of extremely easy, right? So that is extremely true with respect to our prompt engineering. Why I'm trying to showcase this? Because with respect to prompt engineering, how this is relevant. So let me just try to motivate you. So whenever we go to this kind of screen, right? Whenever cursor is blinking over here, usually we don't think and we just start writing. But what the first quote, which I have just showcased you, it's trying to say that before you start typing, you must imagine that what you want as your final outcome, right? If that clarity you have, then it will be very much easy to obtain that particular outcome. And what is the overall objective of this particular talk? You can see first 4 letters of this particular chat GPT is chat. So chat means interaction. So that means whatever model is going to give us, not necessarily that's what we want. So we are going to reiterate, we are going to refine until we get what we want. So it's all about interaction. And we would like to minimize the length of this interaction so that we can accomplish more in less time. Right? Hopefully you understand. Let's say I spend 10 minutes to accomplish a particular task on this particular LLM versus I spend just 2 minutes to accomplish the same task with this same quality. Right? So of course we will prefer the second kind of path because you will be able to accomplish a lot more if you follow it properly. Right? So that's the whole motivation of prompt engineering. It's not like that without prompt engineering you cannot get what you want. It will take a lot of time, right? And we would like to save that particular time so that you can invest that particular time to some other productive work. So always visualize. And a lot of time people complain that AI is not up to the mark. So is it because AI or is it because you? Because we imagine that AI is kind of super powerful and it will imagine that whatever is going on in our mind, but that is not actually true, right? For example, when we say that AI is like friend, then for actual friends, I don't need to explain him or her that what I want or what how I am feeling. But whereas in the case of this kind of LLM models, I have to explicitly mention right, whatever I need, right? So that's the core difference, right? So if you can convey nicely what you want, that's the whole idea of prompt engineering. And of course, I will showcase you concrete framework, which you will appreciate a lot. So now let me give you one more insight so that you can appreciate what I'm trying to say. So let's consider the simple function f of x is equal to 3x plus 5. All of you agree that outcome of this function depends upon what I provide as value of x, right? If I provide x is equal to 2, then I will get 6 plus 5, which is nothing but 11. But if I provide x is equal to 1, then I will get 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. So now instead of F, you can imagine ChatGPT. All of us are having same ChatGPT model, right? Access. But still, the outcome varies tremendously, right? It's not just about stochastic thing, right? Of course, that for exactly same outcome may not be possible, but I'm talking about in terms of quality. So quality of outcome in this particular case, it depends upon what we are going to provide as an input. And prompt is nothing but our input. Right? So only thing which is in our hand is what we are going to write in this system set. So therefore, it's extremely important because that will be the kind of distinguishable factor amongst us, right? So that's why this topic is extremely important. And now let's go to the second idea. So it's just showcasing whatever I've told that asking the right question is as important as answering them, right? So it's not just about answers; it's also about questions, or it's also about how well your is crafted. That will decide the quality of the outcome for sure. And third, and the most important aspect, it's not just about questions, it's also about whom you ask this particular question to. Like, for example, let's say suddenly I feel some issues with my heart and I call that coordinator of this particular FTP, right, Dr. Dinesh, please help me, right? I am troubling with my heart. So we'll say, go to cardiologist. Why are you talking to me, right? Because he is not the correct person, right? I can contact him if I have some issues with Python, but with respect to medical science, with respect to heart aspects, I must visit some cardiologists, right? So in the context of prompt engineering, what this means, right? So can you guess the amount of data on which ChatGPT 3.5 was kind of trained? Can some estimation can you write in the chat box? It's a huge data, right? In terms of GBs, if you can write or if you can just predict. So it will be more than 700 GBs of data, which is text data I'm talking about, on which the model is trained. So that means the model can take infinitely many personalities, right? But we don't utilize it properly, right? So it's like all the experts are available free of cost, but we just don't care. We just kind of write randomly. I usually give this kind of example for this particular kind of aspect that imagine that entire Mumbai city is one big library. And every time, instead of asking question to domain expert of the subsection of this particular library, what do? You ask question to librarian. So if you ask question to librarian, then response will be quite generic. And that's what happens most of the time. Right, so let me try to demonstrate, then you will appreciate because I've just talked about a lot of things. But let me practically showcase you the impact of good prompts. So what I have done, I have already stored this conversation so that we can quickly understand impact of good prompting. So now, if you go over here, then it's the simplest possible prompt without much detail. Usually we write like this only. That whatever issue I have, suggest me something. Let's help me solve this, right? And then we will get some response. I'm not saying this response is bad, but just compare this response. Right? So I'm scrolling through this particular response slowly. Immediate steps, long-term changes, 4 long-term changes have been proposed, and that's it. Right? The response has been completed. Now, see the revised prompt for the same query. What I have done that I have assigned the most kind of one can say experienced person for this particular task. And I can say assume a role of cardiologist having experience of more than 25 years because he is the correct person to ask this particular question, not some generic person who can give some insights. And now, as you can see, the rest of the prompt is quite similar. And now let's compare this, right? So now it's giving me step-by-step guide, and you can see step one, step two, step three, and in each step, it's also further giving me kind of detailed insight, right? So if you see, then it's giving me insights how much sleep is sufficient or required, and how to manage stress. That again, two sub points for both of them, right? And now, if you go back and see, then those insights were missing in the earlier kind of. It was there, but it was just in kind of 2 points. But here, for the same thing, we are getting roughly 4 points, right? So it's not just about length itself, but still, I'm just trying to showcase that it's providing more depth in terms of answers also. And step 5 is also there, step 6 is also there, and final advice kind of summarization of the entire situation is also given. So at any given date, I would prefer the second response because it covers all the aspects of this, right? It's proposing some kind of specific diet, and this kind of thing was earlier, right? It was just mentioned, but details were missing, right? Now it's in the second response, as you can see, with respect to diet, if you see, then it's giving the entire details about that particular diet, right? What should be the idea of diet, what should be included, what should be excluded, right? So hopefully you appreciate just by adding the context, right? Just by adding a role, right? Just by assigning a role to our LLM model, we will see that there will be a drastic improvement in terms of outcome, right? So whenever you would like to do some task with respect to machine learning or deep learning, always provide that particular role to your chat GPT model or whatever LLM you are using, that assume a role of, and then you can provide characteristics, and not necessarily that you provide only one expertise, right? You can say you are expert in generative AI domain, and you are also good with music, right? So it depends upon your kind of problem statement. It's not limited to it's not there is no rule that you just need to put someone who is living or someone who exists. You can also generate some artificial persona which does not exist, that is there just for your task, right? So you can imagine how good you can the response quality will be if you can do so. And I will soon showcase you one good example where I have incorporated this. But let me just go ahead with the proper. Now, let me just introduce the name of the framework which I am proposing for good prompting, right? So this part I have anyway explained. So let's go ahead with respect to this. This is also fine, and you can see, right? This I have already told you that if your prompt is like this, then response not just in terms of length. You can see this is just kind of roughly 3 paragraphs of response, and of course the insights will be less. But if you just modify, if you just provide the context, then you can see the kind of not just length but depth of the responses very nice, right? So just by adding that particular context, we get better insights. And now I'm recommending this particular framework for prompting, and then we will see in detail. First, we will talk in terms of kind of one example, and then I will showcase you some example which can be useful to your day-to-day work. So there are many frameworks, but the framework which I am proposing or recommending is Create framework, right? It's existing framework. And what's the idea of Create, right? First thing is very easy to remember, right? Create is a nice word and we can remember it very easily. And each letter is very intuitive, right? So first letter I have already explained. C stands for character. So it's always ensure that you provide a proper context for the underlying task, right? You give the expertise, that assume a role of expert in following domains before you put your request. I don't need to explain you with respect to request. You already know that request means whatever task you would like to accomplish with the help of this model. Examples are also extremely important. Right? For example, you are using this for creation of email. Then you can put some examples of your existing emails which you have sent to others earlier. So that if you do so, then your tone and personality will be kind of mimicked or maybe kind of transformed in terms of outcome or generated email, right? So that is also kind of very much important that you give examples whenever examples are ready with you or available with you, right? And of course, I will take some kind of examples of this also so that you will be able to appreciate it. And some adjustments, I will talk about it afterwards. Type of output, right? So many of the times we just want to generate some kind of caption, but this chat GPT gives us one para of outcome, right? So how to ensure that we get what we want in terms of length also. Sometimes we want table format, sometimes we want code, right? So how to ensure that we are getting what we want and some extras are. So now, before we go ahead, let me just try to demonstrate one more kind of entire, I should say, example of the entire framework so that you appreciate this, how it works. So I've started with very generic example, and this will, because everyone will be able to relate with this and understand it, how it works. And then we will go for some other examples, right? So what is the task over here? What is the requirement over here? So let's say you are alone at home and you would like to prepare one nice dish, right? New recipe, right? You would like to try. And then it's not a normal recipe. We would like specific Indian as well as Western flavor, and we would like to take inspiration from some famous Indian chefs. So let's see how we should start. So first two lines, right? So whatever I have highlighted so far, right? This is nothing but character. As you can see, let me just zoom this so that you can see this properly. You are an award-winning Indian chef with 20 years of professional experience and international star. You craft vibrant dishes that celebrate regional Indian flavors with kind of global technique fusion, right? So this is what I want from the chef, right? So now ChatGPT is our chef, and first two sentences are nothing but character part or C part of our create framework, right? Next, what is our request? For now, I just want to ensure that it knows that what ingredients I have, because otherwise what will happen if I don't put this particular line, then ChatGPT may assume that whatever I'm going to provide, those things must be available with me. That may not be the case, right? So therefore it's important that first it asks me that what are the ingredients available with me, and then depending upon that, those ingredients, ChatGPT must provide me some recipe. Otherwise, it can provide some generic recipe, and ingredients may not be available with me, right? So therefore, it's important. Now, the third part is extremely important. You can see that we are recommending take inspiration from Sanjeev Kapoor, Vikas Khanna, Gagan Anand, Vidit Bhatia, right? All of these are famous Indian chefs, if you know. So this is nothing but example, so that in the recipe we got some kind of adaptation from this famous Indian chefs. And then this is called adjustment, that we are in India, not in UK. So therefore, we would like to have everything in terms of grams, milliliters, not in pounds or something, right? So that therefore that this is called adjustment. And this is kind of killing the assumption of AI. Select only the ingredients you need. Why I have written this particular line? Otherwise, AI may assume that whatever I'm going to provide, it has to use all those ingredients to prepare something, right? So and then whatever is kind of being proposed may not be eatable or drinkable, right? So therefore, we should not leave anything on AI, right, for assumption. And then do not suggest any recipe until I provide my list. And then this is called nothing but type of output, right? I want all these things in my output, right? Title of nothing but my recipe, single paragraph in 100 words describing the dish, step by step English process to create that particular dish, right? So that's it. And of course, in between, we also ask for ingredient lists with metric quantities. So now ChatGPT has asked what all ingredients you have in the kitchen, and then I have just provided that this ingredients usually available at every Indian household. And then you can see, right? See the response in terms of structure first, right? One paragraph, 100 words, right? Ingredients, that too with nice stable format and along with quantity. And then finally, this is step-by-step method which you can follow to prepare it, right? So you can easily create one YouTube video or maybe Insta reel based on this recommendation if you are passionate in cooking, right? And the whatever the name is kind of being suggested, that is also kind of non-trivial, right? We usually don't hear about this. And if you look at into the details, then you will understand what and how it has took inspiration from our example, right? So as you can see, Inspiration from Sanjeev Kapoor is this. Balanced flavors. Gagan Anand is this. Vineet Bhatia is this, right? And right, so on and so forth, right? So as you can see, it's taking some inspiration from our examples. It's always good to provide examples so that the quality of the outcome becomes kind of what we want. Right? So this is one nice example, but you will appreciate some, and of course, this is interaction. So I can also ask that what is the calorie distribution if I want in-depth details about this recipe, so that I can also kind of utilize this information in my whatever blog or reel. Now, let me take one kind of slightly technical example. And before that, let me again take one generic example before we go into technical example. So we have limited time, but we would like to read a lot of books. So how ChatGPT can help us with respect to this, right? So for that particular purpose, let me just go to the this, right? So now this is the prompt for it, right? So maybe I can just copy paste this. So you can try this with your right, whatever book you like, right? Not necessary that you pick some academic book, right? You can just like me, right? You can also go with some of the famous books which are available, right? So over here, what is the task? I don't have time to read this particular book, How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, extremely famous book. But I would just like to know insights of it, right? Without kind of reading it, right? So now again, I'm going to follow the create framework. So the first part is I must assign some character. So character is I'm going to say you are experienced writer along with this kind of qualities, concise and readable text. Why concise? Because the task is summarization of book. So concise is important, readable because of course, right? I don't want some heavy English, right? Normal English without any kind of stop words, filler words, or jargon. So this is my requirement. This is the character. This is the expertise which I have given to this particular model. Then this is the request. I don't need to explain you request. Just I am giving name of the book and author, and then final thing is nothing but type of outcome which is required, which is nothing but in this particular case, I want no more than 5 bullet points and then just one sentence summary of the entire book, right? So you can see not every time you need to use all those letters, right, of create framework. In this particular case, I use only three, right? So if you again go back and see, character is used, request is used. I didn't use example or adjustments and or extras. Just type of output is used, right? So this is again you can go for any subset of this framework depending upon your requirement. So even with this, you can see how nice the responses show genuine interest in others, right? So one of the major takeaway or key takeaway of the book: avoid criticism, give honest and sincere appreciation, so on and so forth, right? And finally, just one sentence summarizing all the aspects of the book, right? Focus on empathy, respect, sincere appreciation are the keys for to influencing people and building lasting relationships. Right. So you can see that even without reading the books, we can get the key ideas about. Let's say I have slightly more time than this, and I would like to kind of understand at least 15 points, not like this 5 points. So then I can just say, give me 15 actionable points instead of five, and then you can see that it's giving concrete actionable points like smile, be a good listener, right? Make the other person feel important, right? So kind of all the key insights of this books now readily available with me, so I can get benefit of the book even without reading it fully, right? So maybe if I can zoom this slightly, then you will be able to appreciate this even more. So this is how it works. Now, let me also showcase you one more interesting feature of Chat GPT. I'm not sure how many of you use it. There is one nice button of share over here. So if I click over here, then what will happen? A link of this conversation will be generated and I can share it with anyone, right? So for example, what I can do, I can just create this particular link, copy this particular link, and I'm going to paste it over here so that you can go through this entire conversation afterwards also, right? So this is also a very fantastic kind of thing which is underrated, right? You should do this often with your colleagues or maybe with your students, right? Now I'm going even further, pick the most important 3 points and explain in each aspect, explain in one para, right? Something like that. So now what will happen? It has picked these 3 important points and now it's explaining them in text, right? So that's how it works. Now, one more interesting thing is the same prompt you can use for summarization of text also. Instead of saying book, you can give some text and say that summarize this text by. Okay, I can repeat the sharing part. It's very easy. Whatever conversation you have, right? First thing is you must have some kind of valid conversation. It won't, this button won't make much sense when you are on the front screen like this, right? For example, if I'm over here, then I haven't done anything right now. So this doesn't make much sense. But once you have okay, yes, I'm responding those things also. Just give me a second. Let me just first answer the first query. So once you have some conversation like this, then this particular button will appear. Right? As soon as you have asked something, the button will appear. You just need to click on this particular button, share. So now there are multiple options. You can share this if you like this. You can publish this on some social network like LinkedIn or X or Reddit. But what I recommend to do is copy link. So copy link means this unique link of this particular conversation will be generated, and then you can just paste that particular link to your Google Classroom or email or wherever you want. So that's how you can share some interesting, insightful conversation with others like this. And does this shared link will show the same content against future case? Of course, this is kind of a web page. So, and again, what I recommend whenever you do this, ensure that you don't have any personal or sensitive information within that particular conversation, because you can't track, right? For example, I have shared this particular link with you. Now you can share it with others also. So I don't have control, right? Unfortunately, as of now, ChatGPT doesn't provide that particular control that whenever someone clicks on that particular link and you get notification, that is not there. So it's better that you do this with your trustworthy colleagues or students. Right. Okay. So now the same prompt, like I was mentioning, can be useful for summarizing. And this is extremely nice use case. Imagine that you have taught so basically, what so as per the last or latest update, these are kind of web pages which are hosted by Google itself. If you search on Google, then you will get some kind of if you just search for kind of personal conversations or shared conversations with ChatGPT, then you will get thousands of conversations of random people. But you won't be able to see the names. For example, if you click on that particular my link, then you won't be able to see that who was the beginner in this particular or who is the author of that particular conversation. Those things will be missing, right? So this is kind of without disclosing yourself, you can share content, and so it may be listed by Google also in future if repeatedly people are clicking on it. So it will be stored like that. And ChatGPT also provides that particular kind of what I should say uh, custom option that later on, if you want, you can delete this shared thing also. So maybe I can just quickly showcase that part also. But just give me a couple of minutes. I will come back to it. That how to if you want to disable some links, what you need to do. I will just talk about it. But give me a couple of minutes. Let me just focus on the core part of the talk first, and then I will come back to your question, Swapanji. Right. So now, as you can see, instead of just providing book name, you can provide this kind of entire Wikipedia page, right? I have provided kind of entire Wikipedia page of Sachin Tendulkar, right? So the same prompt, right? So you can see it's going on and on, right? Too much data. So this is non-technical example so that you can, all of you can relate, but you can imagine that you can also provide data from one of the units of your textbook, right? And then this will summarize it nicely, right? Following the prompt. And you can see the interesting aspect is within this around I should say 15 to 20 lines, it has captured all the important things about Sachin Tendulkar, right? So if I just focus on the outcome, then you will appreciate that how good it is. First, we know, all of us know that debut age was 16. We know that career was spanned 24 years, right? We also know the most important achievement is this over 34,000 runs, and that to all-time highest run scorer in international cricket. He has got Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, right? Multiple global awards, and then as you can see, he was a member of India's 2011 World Cup win team, right? So all the important things, right? He is known as God of Cricket, right? Rajya Sabha MP in this particular duration, and someone tells you, just tell me about Sachin Tendulkar in one sentence, right? Then you can utilize this particular sentence, right? So you can see this is the power of good prompting, right? I'm not saying that you can't get all these things without prompt engineering, but if you do it, then within just couple of seconds, you will be able to get this kind of nice outcome, right? So hopefully you appreciate this. So now, before we go ahead, let me just try to address that particular question, right, which you had asked me earlier. So now maybe I can just go to right, one option is there where you can so as you can see, if you go to data controls, so now since I am on this page, let me just explain one more aspect of chat gpt. There is one option, improve the model for everyone. I recommend you to turn off this particular option. By default it will be turned on, right? So what's the idea of this? If you keep this particular option on, then all your conversation may be used by OpenAI for training their models, right? So what I recommend, keep it turned off, right? So that with some level of privacy we get. Next one is you can see shared link. If you click on manage, then you will get list of kind of all the links which you have shared. Right? You can see I have shared this particular link today with you people. So I have that over here. So if I click on this particular delete button, then it won't remain, right? So I haven't tried it because usually I don't share link which is of kind of personal or not shareable kind of thing. So all of these are kind of knowledge oriented things. So I don't need to delete them, but it's there, right? So from this also, maybe I can just kind of explain you something nice if it is of use. So maybe I can just click on some of the links so that the existing conversation will be visible. And then maybe I can talk about them. Okay, fine. So let me just close this. Hopefully you got the idea, right? How, where you can, where you should go for seeing all your links which are shared. Right? So now this was again, I guess, from Python ki Pathshala. So I guess I can skip this. It's not required now. Okay, this one is interesting, right? You will appreciate this. So okay, so image is not visible, but it's okay. Means here I should use some different account. Again, this will showcase one limitation of shareable links. Whenever you share links, unfortunately, the files which you have uploaded on your within your conversation, those files won't be visible. So, for example, if I upload some picture and then I share the conversation, then conversation will be visible. For example, over here, before this particular prompt, I have uploaded some kind of data of Apple, but that data file is not visible over here. That is the limitation of this sharing, right? So I must highlight that also. So now maybe what I can do, I can just go to one of my other account and just showcase you some stored conversation from over here so that we can see that what it was with respect to again it's more about some different use case of AI, right? How we can use AI effectively. That's the core idea on which I'm trying to talk right now. So as you can see, you can have this kind of data, right? So this data can represent anything. Imagine that you have data of your college students, right? And this is nothing but kind of placement data, or maybe it's from where students are coming, branch-wise distribution. It can be anything. And then management tells you to kind of analyze this data and give us actionable points so that we can kind of increase our placement, or maybe we can ensure that institute runs smoothly with respect to all the branches, right? So now, if we do this by our own, then it will take a lot of time. So what I have done over here, this is with respect to Apple. That's actual data is Apple. I'm just showcasing some. I'm just trying to say that how you can utilize this particular feature. So whenever you have this kind of report, you can just take screenshot of it, or maybe you can just upload that particular PDF directly, and then you can ask this kind of question that you are an expert of data analysis field, as well as you have good knowledge of Apple, because it's about selling Apple products. So I must give this second characteristic also. So this is, I'm just trying to showcase that it's not like that every time you just need to give one kind of feature in character. You can give multiple features in the character. And then I'm saying explain the key findings from these charts and write 10 findings and 10 actionable points to improve sales or profit, and explain like you are explaining to a 10-year-old guy. Right? So this is also one nice use case whenever some difficult concept is there. So before you go into the classroom, you can just go to ChatGPT and ask for some sensible metaphors, right, for that particular topic, right, so that you can explain that particular topic nicely, right? So as you can see, key findings: top products by profit. MacBook is the most profitable product for Apple. Region wise, Asia is the region where the company is earning the most. Sales channel, right, online or offline. So online is more preferable. And apart from that, in-store sales and third-party sales is around 26 to 29%. So we got all the key insights just within a couple of seconds. And now these are the actionable points if company wants to grow, right? So focus on MacBook sales because of course it's a profitable product. So if you sell more, you earn more. Then there are some months in which sales are low, so give some kind of discount. Like since sales dip in July, consider special promotions or discounts during this period to keep sales steady throughout the year. And this makes sense also. And if I have noticed correctly, then since this year, now Apple also provides this kind of educator discount to all the students and as well as educators of worldwide. And earlier they used to provide for some different window, but nowadays they provide within this time frame, right? July, August, September, right? And in September they close those discounts. So basically they are trying to right, incorporate these changes. Uh, Expand in South America, right? The low percentage of cells are there, right? So we get a lot of insights with that too within a couple of seconds. And now this is an interesting kind of use case that now let's say I am not from management domain and I would like to understand all this. So I will say explain like you are explaining to a 7-year-old and take example of toys. So you can see now best selling toy is MacBook. Most toys sold in big city, right? So accordingly, it's recommending what you should do as a kid. Right. So hopefully you are trying to understand what I'm trying to say over here. With this metaphor, toys, it's easier to understand this complex concept many of the times. Right? And actionable points, sell more robot toys, Christmas sale, sell more in small towns. And you can easily guess how these things are can be mapped to Apple, right? Make online shopping fun, right? So that people buy more, make toys cheaper to produce, so on and so forth. Right? So the fantastic use case. One more use case can be, okay, maybe I can just go back slightly. Right? So you can see that n number of use cases are possible. For example, here I've tried to create script of the Session-3 movie, right? And it is created fairly nicely, right? So I'm again, right? So successful Bollywood writer, having experience of 25 plus years, specialize in thriller genre and write a script from sequel of Session-2, right? And take inspiration from other movies like 1, 2, and right some South Indian movie also, right? So now, as you can see, it's giving right main characters how they are evolved with time, right? Right? And then it's also going to give plot. What will be the first act, right? The story picks up several years after the events of Rushdom 2, right? So whatever I'm explaining, it's not just limited to some technical use cases. You can use it for anything, right? Depending upon your interest. So Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, right? So kind of brief script of entire movie has been provided. And this is just one prompt, right? I didn't go further. And this too, I wrote it very hurriedly in some sense, right? It's not precise, but still it's giving us uh, interesting outcome. Then one more use case can be, let's say you are stuck somewhere and something is written like this, right? Whether you can park or not. But imagine this is written in some other language, not in English. So you can just give this kind of screenshot to ChatGPT and ask that what it's trying to say, whether and this is the time right now, whether can I park my vehicle over here or not, right? And then straight away it will answer you, right? So as you can see, it has answered both the questions which were written. So in this particular case, both the questions were written over here within that particular image itself. So we can straight away see the answer, right? Whether it's possible or not. Right? So this is one more use case. Now let me just try to first conclude create framework and then I will talk about other aspects. So depending upon the kind of your requirement, you should give roles. For example, in writing domain, this is how one should start. And I'm going to take three different examples for this. Summarization of text, I have already explained. How to write email with create framework, and then how to teach something like for example Pythagoras theorem. If you want nice explanation of it, then what should be the prompt, right? So this is how the flow is. So this is how the character has been set up, that you are mathematics teacher explaining complex concepts simply, that is for mathematics. Generic, you professional copywriter skilled in creating engaging marketing emails, right? So on and so forth. So this is about role. I should not explain about request also because you know how to put a request, right? Whatever task you would like to do. For example, I would like to write a professional email inviting a colleague for a meeting and on Monday 10 a.m. So far so good. Interesting part will start over here. What should I put in terms of example? For example, if I'm writing some email for marketing purpose, then I can say write ensure that you follow the template of Apple's marketing strategy, right? Apple's product announcement emails, which are simple, innovative yet inviting. And if I'm writing, if I'm trying to submit something to somewhere, like in terms of some nice a small LinkedIn kind of article, then I can give this kind of thing that follow some famous newsletters like Harvard Business Review. And with respect to mathematics domain, I can give example of Khan Academy. Take inspiration of from Khan Academy, whose explanation usually clear, visually appealing, and practical. Right. So by just writing just lines, that the outcome will be significantly better. And some additional adjustments, whatever I want. For example, I just want brief email, 3 sentences, not more than that. So those are the adjustments. Type of outcome, right? All of us know, right? Whatever we want. Sometimes we want table, sometimes we want code, sometimes we want latex codes, right? So depending upon what you want, you should write it down, right? And then uh, some extras, right? For example, how we can use this, like ignore all previous context and start from scratch. So this will be useful when, for example, I have very long kind of conversation. This is very long. I would instead of clicking on new, if I want to continue the same, I don't want that previous response kind of impact my current query. So I can just say start afresh and ignore everything which was discussed earlier in this conversation. So this is kind of extra that I don't need to go and click on that particular new icon. And now the model will be kind of, its memory with respect to conversation will be cleaned. And now I can start something else, right? So if you want rapid switching without kind of changing or without clicking to this particular new thing, you can just continue like this, right? So that is that. Fine. And with respect to mathematics domain, right, creative analogy you can ask for with respect to whatever kind of query you have. So now, okay, so maybe I can showcase couple of more very quickly, whatever is relevant to this. Okay, or maybe I can showcase them after a couple of minutes. But before that, let me just conclude this. What are the issues with prompt engineering? Common issues which we often face because of our kind of, I should say, misunderstanding. So many of the times we feel that we have a lot to do and we give too many things together. Right? For example, let's say I have my PhD student and I have some set of 6 different tasks related to research and I would like to assign them. So if I tell him to do all those 6 tasks simultaneously in the morning, one fine morning I go and I tell him that before 5 p.m. I want everything to be done and these are your tasks. This 6 or 7 tasks you need to do. Right? So then he will struggle for sure because a lot of things he needs to kind of process and he will be confused, right? What to do first, then what to do next, and whether he will be able to accomplish this within the given time frame or not. Right? Lot many kind of confusion. Same thing happens with respect to prompting also, or this LLM models also. If you give them too many things in one go, then they will be confused. So it's better that you give concrete things. And this is extremely helpful when you do something kind of machine learning or deep learning, because most of the times what will happen? The outcome of first phase will be given to kind of as an input of second phase. And if you give too many things together, then of course, with respect to tokens, outcome tokens, or with respect to response tokens, these models have limitations. They are not infinite, right? So they can't produce too many tokens in one go, right? So it's always good to break whatever tasks you have into some small sub-modular units and then provide those units one by one, right? So for example, here, summarize the data, find trends, predict future outcomes. I've asked all of this together, right? So then model will be confused. It won't be, of course, it will give outcome, but it won't be that good. So it's always good to break this prompt into sub prompts Vague language, always avoid this. Analyze this. This is bad. Or you should be explicit what we are trying to analyze. And iterative feedback is also important. Many of the times we just feel that whatever is given by AI in the first round, that is good, but it's not the case. It's an iterative process. So always try to spend some more time, right? Ask it to refine it, or maybe you can just write this, explain your thinking. Then also you will understand a lot, right? What the model is trying to do, and what's the significance of the previous outcome, right? So all those things you can do. Right. So, okay, fine. So now let me try to showcase you something interesting which I have discovered. So can any, okay, so maybe, okay. So what I request, can anyone just write down his or her domains? And I request you to write at least 3 to 4 domains of your expertise. Maybe you can mention a couple of subjects or domains which you are comfortable to. For example, I am comfortable with theoretical computer science, graph neural networks, and generative AI in education. Likewise, what are your key domains? That if any one of you can just write it down in the chat box, then I will just use his or her domains as an example. So now I'm in the second segment of the talk. In the first segment, we have talked about create, and hopefully you understand and appreciate how it works and what's the significance of it. Now I'm going to talk about some, I should say, very innovative tricks with respect to prompting, where you don't need to write too much, but still you get variation in terms of outcome. So basically, we are trying to control two aspects of our model. First is creativity, and the second one. So if you just give me a minute, let me just stop my screen sharing. I will just wait for responses from you. And meanwhile, I'm also trying to open one more uh, kind of document. Okay, so fine. So okay, fine. So artificial general intelligence, wow. And then I'm not sure about the first response, SAP and ABAP. I feel that they are kind of tools or mechanism, but unfortunately I'm not familiar. So first I'm going with the second response, and then I will take the first response also. So let me share my screen one more time. So okay. So now what I'm going to do, so let's say we would like to have some kind of startup ideas with respect to domains of Swapan. Okay. I hope I'm kind of pronouncing his name correctly. So now what I'm going to do, I will just ask, give me some startup ideas, right? Or maybe innovative startup ideas, like anything is fine. Give me some startup ideas. I don't want to write too much. I'm not following create for now. For my domains and my domain expertise, right, is in, like, and then I can just mention this, and I can just quantify this. Let's say just five startup ideas. Okay. Okay. So now it will give me some kind of nothing but outcome, right? 5 startup ideas, right? Quantum, and then we are using is quantum computing for autonomous researcher in some sense. Fine. Human digital twin. Okay. Quantum safe AGI, cyber defense system, AGI driven code factories, AI enhanced quantum learning cloud. All of these are fine, but all of these are kind of buzzwords. I've heard about all of them. Right. I've heard about this digital twin. I've heard about this AGI. Right. All of these are kind of trivial ideas. So what I'm going to do now, and of course, I should mention about this shortcut. If you see this overlapping kind of, okay, let me try to zoom. If you see this overlapping squares, then that is copy button. So I can just copy this. But this time I'm going to just append one thing. I will say temperature is equal to 2, right? And let's see what outcome we get. That temperature is equal to 2. Okay. So, and then ignore this first part, right? Cognitive quantum mesh for real-time policy simulation, right? This is, I haven't heard about it right earlier. AGI generated quantum algorithms on demand, right? Quantum algorithm itself is a kind of challenging domain, and now with the help of AGI, how we can improve upon them, right? And it's correctly mentioning some of the most important use cases, including protein folding problem. So if you can solve protein folding, then you can cure a lot of diseases of human, right? So quite interesting. Quantum robotics scientists, right? So again, consciousness inspired AGI quantum co-processor, right? So if I ask Swapnil, then of course he would love the responses which we got afterwards, not the first one, right? So why this is happening? So maybe I can just demonstrate this one more time very quickly. If I just say, okay, and maybe I can just go to free version so that you can appreciate this. This works in every model. It's not like that. It's for you need some kind of pro version for it. I will just say, give me 10 tips of time management. Okay, very simple and generic question, which is kind of appealing to all of us. Okay, now, of course, it will give us some response. All right, we will first prioritize using two-three rules, Pomodoro, right? All of this we have heard, right? Break big tasks into smaller ones, avoid multitasking, set deadlines, right? We have heard about all of this. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the same prompt, but I will just append one parameter, temperature, and this time again I am giving temperature is equal to 2. So temperature is mainly to kind of manage creativity levels of our model. So as you can see, it's saying 10 widely creative, high entropy, temperature 2 style time management system. So whenever you want something creative, for example, if you would like to write nice poem, then you should have temperature is equal to 2. If you want to generate some out of the box caption for your Instagram, then you should have temperature is equal to 2. So you can see now whatever comes, right? I am not familiar with it, right? Because all of these things are kind of out of the box. Time travel windows, future you, present you, past you, right? Travel between them intentionally instead of getting stuck in past use regrets, right? So it's a innovative way of saying be in present and work. Chaos, then calm cycle. Spend 3 minutes dumping every thought, then spend 3 minutes reorganizing, then resets brain, then reset your brain. 10-second quest activation activates, right? So we have to spend a lot of kind of time to even understand one of them, right? So you can see it's very extremely creative. One song sprint, pick one energizing song, work only for the duration of that song, right? It's quite innovative. That's, instead of doing nothing, this is good. Right? So it's trying to encourage us, right? And as you can see, a lot of rules are coming up. 3 minute rule, and I didn't know any one of them before going through this, right? So hopefully you appreciate this just by appending this. So now let me explain this formally, that what temperature is and what we are actually trying to do. So basically, with whatever response we get with these models, there are two crucial aspects as per my belief. First aspect is what is the length of the outcome, and second one is what are the creativity levels. If we can manage this two, then more or less we will be able to manage everything with respect to this large language models, right? So how we can control creativity for that particular purpose? We have this particular hyperparameter, which is kind of in our prompt we can just append it. That is called nothing but temperature. So let me just try to showcase you some concrete use case so that you can appreciate this, when you should go for low temperature value and when you should go for high temperature value, right? For example, if you want something which is fact based, like explain quantum mechanics, then you can ignore this temperature parameter because this is fact based. You want everything to be extremely precise, right? You don't want kind of creativity in it, right? Because if creativity comes, then model may give something else which is not quantum computing, right, or quantum mechanics. So therefore, for academic purpose, if you are generating anything, then do not use this. But if you want to, if you are writing your email, if you are writing some kind of story, if you are writing some kind of, I should say, LinkedIn post, right? So then you can go for high creativity also, right? For example, if you consider this the example, then you will be able to appreciate it. That explain quantum mechanics, do not use temperature. It's fine. Write a professional email, you can have some kind of in between thing because you don't want your response to be sound like others, right? So basically, what we are trying to do, we are trying to distinguish ourselves with others by changing some things in our prompting, right? So that responses look different, right? Otherwise, most of the times, just by looking at the text, someone can predict it is generated by AI. But here, what we are doing, we are taking advantage of these variations which are present there, but not a lot of people are knowing about it or maybe using them, right? So, for example, if you are writing a professional email, this can be temperature can be something like this, 0.4 to 0.7, and the range is between 0 to 2, right? And for extremely creative part, you can go for very high value of temperature, for example, 2. So now, just with this example, you will be able to understand this properly. That what is the capital of France? If I ask you this, then you don't need any temperature. Even with zero temperature, it will work. But if I tell you, describe Paris in an alternate reality, and you want something out of the box, right? So then it's better to have temperature is equal to 1.5 or maybe 2. So ideally, you can go for any of the numbers between 0 to 2. For example, if I continue my conversation over here, I can just say, instead of writing the entire thing, I can just say regenerate. All right, I can just say regenerate with temperature is equal to 1.5. So now something in between will happen. It will have flavor of traditional formal time management tips along with something out of the box. Right? Now, can you think what can be a good use case of temperature? Right? I guess I will ask that particular question after I introduce one more parameter. Then you will be able to answer it very nicely. Soon we will relate all this with our coding. How we can utilize this with our maybe if you try to generate some kind of code with LLM, then how this can be helpful. Right? So as you can see, this is more imaginative than normal, but still practical and structured. This is what model is trying to do if you provide temperature is equal to 1.5, right? So now you can see, now if you see the response, then you will be able to appreciate that how well this particular prompting strategy is. First one, I didn't use any temperature. It's giving me some techniques which are known by everyone. Pomodoro technique, all of us know this technique, and we have apps also for this. Work for some time and then take a break. All of us know. But if you go for temperature is equal to 2, then we are getting something which takes time even to understand, right? For example, this one, invisible meeting technique, right? Meeting with someone is very important, right? So label like that, and then you kind of prioritize that particular task, right? And then third one is something in between, which is kind of very close to I should say creative but not normal, right? So it's a mixture of creativity and slightly normal things. So we will get some kind of uh, one should say intermediate suggestions like 20 minutes flow launch, right? Priority pyramid, right? So on and so forth. So this is something in between, right? Okay, now one more question is this temperature word is based on ChatGPT? Yes, this is based on ChatGPT. For ChatGPT, it will work. For your second one, I should say Copilot, it will work. For Gemini, it won't work directly. Of course, they have that playground. If you go there, then you can set the temperature over there. But and specifically for ChatGPT, this all of whatever I'm saying, it's correct. And to some extent, it's also correct for Copilot because other models have their own kind of setup. But it's very handy to work like this, at least with ChatGPT. Right? So you can see that finish line visualization, right? All of these are extremely creative, right? So now you know, right, how to get different versions of a kind of responses without much prompt engineering, right? So we are just appending this keyword temperature. Next time I'm not even writing the entire thing. I'm just saying regenerate with this. And you can imagine how many different values you can have between 1 and 2 or between 0 and 2, right? And you can have something in float also. For example, for your task, temperature 1.25 is also good, right? So you have to fine tune, right? What is for the whatever task you are doing, what should be the correct value of temperature, right? So it's all about temperature. Let me go for the next aspect. So if we can manage this, then it's good. And these are the tasks which are of high temperature. Write a poem in the style of Shakespeare, but about AI, right? So this is highly creative, right? You are writing something about Shakespeare's, but we are style is we are following Shakespeare, but content is about AI, and again we are using AI for it. So it's better we use it intelligently and we give high temperature value for this particular task, right? So why I use high temperature for startup? Now you can imagine the startup is something out of the box. You cannot have based on existing things startup. So if you want to generate startup, then you should go for high temperature, right? So hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say. That if you want something out of the box, then always high temperature is preferable. right? So, for example, generate an imaginative sci-fi story about time-traveling cats. So this is fictional. So something related to fictional, then of course go for high temperature. Now enough about temperature. Let me go for the second parameter, which is also quite interesting. This is called tokens. So what I will do, let me just try to explain this by taking one more example. I will just say, um, give me brief or maybe give me introduction about, or I will just say introduce. And then I can use any of the topic. Maybe I will take something from the chat, right? You have mentioned about some technology which I am not familiar with. So maybe SAP I can pick SAP and ABAP. So I can just say SAP and ABAP. Okay. This one is from, I guess, Mrudula ji. So what I will do, it's introduce this and I will just append tokens is equal to 50. Let's see what it does. So you can see we are getting just one line of response for both of them, right? SAP, now I know the full form, Systems, Applications and Products, ABAP, Advanced Business Application Programming. But you can see why response is too low in terms of length because of tokens. Now what will happen if I just copy paste the same prompt, but instead of 50, I will write 500. You can imagine what will happen, right? Earlier we got two kind of lines. Now number of lines will be 10 times, right? Roughly more than 20 lines will be there in the response, right? So you can see the response is in depth. So just with tokens, you can kind of, so one token is roughly around 4 characters in ChatGPT. And why I'm recommending this, because you can try this experiment with words. The response length may vary, but with tokens, especially if you want to impose something that give me shortest possible response, then you should go for low token values. Now, can you tell me how this can be useful in the context of coding tokens and temperature? Anyone? Since the FTP is on Python programming, so we also justify the topic is aligned with that also. But of course, we know that with good prompts, we can generate kind of codes which are difficult to write by our own in some sense, and then we can ethically we should append them and verify them. That is fine. But apart from that, what other use case you can specifically with tokens and temperature? What do you feel? Okay, temperature to code unknown thing. Okay, that is fine. Which parameter you feel is more relevant for us, temperature or token, when we talk about code generation? Both, okay. So let's say, do you agree that all of you agree, since we are on the last day, I can ask this particular question. Do you agree for the same problem, we can have multiple versions of code in terms of length? One code may take, let's say, around 100 lines for doing some task, and the second code may do the same task in just 20 lines. So token is for optimized code. Absolutely correct. All right. Very nice answer, Swapanji. So what we can do, we can just append whenever we request that write a code. Right. For example, I can say write Python code for factorial, recursive. Right. Let me not mention recursive version. Right. Factorial of a number, and then I will just say tokens is equal to that. Let me give very less tokens. Let's say 100. Let's see what it does. Right. So you can see it's using recursion, which makes sense, but not necessary. If you give this kind of command without tokens, then it will give you the same code. Right? So hopefully you appreciate. If you want to verify that whatever code is generated, whether there exists any equivalent version of that or not, that too with less number of lines, so that you can easily understand it, you can just append token. Right? So it's a very big thing if you can utilize it nicely. Right? So that's how one should use it practically. Fine. So now, if I summarize one more time, that what are the possibilities with tokens? If you want very short, concise answers, then go for very less value of tokens. So again, I have summarized over here that one token is roughly 4 characters in the case of ChatGPT at least, because ChatGPT doesn't understand language of English. That therefore it struggles. Like many people complain that it cannot understand how many letters are there in strawberry, it cannot count because the world has been broken in terms of tokens. So it can understand only token, not words, right? It cannot see the actual characters inside it. So that's why. So we are judging it on the wrong parameters in some sense. Anyways, so now if you can rectify it just by adding something, but I will talk about it afterwards. Let me just focus on tokens for now. So as you can see, if you want something very brief, for example, caption, then you can just say tokens is equal to 50, right? And then nice caption will be generated. Or maybe tokens is equal to 10. You can try, right? But if you want essay kind of response, then you can say tokens is equal to 1500 plus, right? So it's a maximum token set, whatever is possible. We can give those kind of high values if you want uh, detailed response. And if you want moderate length response, then of course 200 to 500, and something in between, then 600 to 1500. I will anyway share this PDF with you so that you can later on go through it. But that's the idea. For example, explain photosynthesis, then with token 50, it will just give me this kind of sentence. But if 500 plus, then it will give detailed response, right? So these are the use cases for which, of course, detailed response is preferable. For example, if you want to write article or blog post, right? And story or screenplay, if you want to generate a dialogue for it, right? So then it will make more sense. Okay. So this is about tokens. Yes, I will share this PDF afterwards for sure. Okay. So hopefully you appreciate how nicely this tokens and temperature help us with respect to our prompting, right? How they are making our lives in some sense easier. Okay. Now let me talk about custom GPTs. Right? That is also kind of important and underrated aspect of nothing but our I should say LLM models. So as you can, as we can recall Charles Darwin, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Right. So ChatGPT is changing everything, but how and which kind of changes we are doing in ChatGPT to accommodate more, to accomplish more, and what all changes we are making in these models, so that how we are fine tuning them so that we can accomplish more, right? So that is the core idea of it. And now what I will try to demonstrate is very soon I will also try to demonstrate how we can create our custom GPT, and that too for free, right? Without paying anything. And I will use some other platform, not ChatGPT, because ChatGPT, if you in ChatGPT, if you want to kind of create this, then you have to pay, right? So I will demonstrate this practically, that how we can create, not only create, how can we share this kind of our specialized apps to others. But before I go ahead, can anyone formally write what one should feel about custom GPT? What custom GPTs are? If you can write couple of terms about it before I explain it formally. You can just write it down in the chat. What do you feel when you hear about this particular term, custom GPT, and why do we need them? What can be the reason? Customized for domain like legal, business. Okay, we can train them on a specific task. They will perform it without prompts. Absolutely correct. It's a correct answer, Bhavana ji. So both the answers are correct. Swapan and um, Bhavana. So first thing is it's customized for domain, right? Whatever models we see, right, including ChatGPT or Gemini, they are designed for generic purpose, right? So we every time we prompt, we have to give some kind of context or character, just the way I have mentioned today or explained today. But we would like to avoid that. What we would like to do is, let's say I am very much specialized in my domain and I would like to design something for my classroom, right? So then it's a specific objective. And every time I don't want to write that big prompt. So what I can do, in summary, what I'm trying to say over here is, let's say I have identified one particular prompt which is working absolutely fine. It's doing magics for me. And I would like to share that particular prompt with others. But I'm not sharing the prompt, I'm just sharing the interface. And in my prompt, along with prompt, I've also added some kind of my knowledge. Basically, just like suggestion of Darwin, we are changing the existing models. We are providing our knowledge too to existing system, and then the kind of prompt along with my knowledge, it becomes kind of very much intelligent than the normal chat GPT for the underlying task. And then we can share this interface to others without sharing the actual files which we have, on which we have trained, or without sharing the actual prompt. So for example, if I share my GPT with you, then you won't be able to see my prompt or my files based on which it was trained. So the first rule for thinking about custom GPT is whatever task you are thinking, it must be very specific, because then only it will work. Because for generic thing, anyway, chat GPT is there. So first is you have to be super sure that your task is extremely one in some sense specific, domain specific, and the second thing is okay, I will answer to that afterwards. Second thing is, apart from specific tasks, we also have to ensure that it's usable by others, right? Let's say I can create one nice GPT, but it's being used by just me. Then I don't need to put it on public domain. I can keep it private. Right? Hopefully you understand. For example, if I design one nice GPT for email writing for myself, then do you feel I should share it with others? My colleague, or maybe on word level? No, because it just follows my tone and my style or my requirements, right? And my requirements may not be the same as yours. But if I design some GPT which can accomplish something unique with respect to Excel, then what do you think? Should I share it with others, or should I keep it private? Right? So that means if something generic is there which can be used by everyone or some large audience, then we should make our GPT public. Otherwise, we can keep them private, right? Okay. So as you can see over here, custom GPT, right, tailored for a specific task or domain, right? And these are some examples, right? Frequently asked question, if you have with respect to your campus, you can have go for custom GPT, right? And this GPT, or you already know, so maybe uh, I can just click on it and share it with you others one more time. Uh, so you can see, right? So here, as you can see, now we won't go into the details of it, how it is made, or what are the functionalities of it. But you can see that you cannot see my prompt over here. You cannot see how I made this particular GPT. You can just interact with it if I give you the link, correct? So if you click on this button, you will get some response. But based on what files these responses are generated, you don't know, right? So, and why this kind of Hindi response is coming, which kind of prompt is written for it, right? So all these things you don't know, right? Right. Okay. So this is about motivation, why you should one should talk about custom GPT. And if you go to custom GPT store, then you will see there are a lot of GPTs available for free. So if I just share this particular link with you, so depending upon your domain, for example, if we are talking about uh, coding, or maybe research and analysis, you will see a lot of GPTs are available for the same purpose. For example, Scholar GPT, if I click on it, I will get a lot of insights about it. How many people have interacted with it so far? 34 million plus conversations so far, and rating is 4.3. So that means it's good. And I can just click on start chat, and then I can just get some kind of literature review with the help of it. So one more use case of custom GPT is, even if you don't create it, even without creation, you should always look for some existing custom GPT for the underlying task, so that you don't need to follow that create framework. You don't need to write the entire big kind of prompts, right? So hopefully you understand one more motivation to know about custom GPT, right? So if you know, then there are more than 3.5 lakhs custom GPTs available on this particular GPT store, right? So you can, depending upon your kind of requirement, you can kind of go for the domain, let's, or subdomain. For example, I'm interested in education, then I can just go for this, and maybe I'm interested to solve some kind of mathematical problem. I can go for this math solver, right? So each GPT briefly explains first what is the objective of it, right? So It offers step-by-step answers and helps you to learn math and even all subjects at any educational level. That is the kind of objective of this particular GPT. And there are some buttons. So if you click on buttons, then you don't need to write. So this is just like frequently asked questions. Right? You get this kind of options when you call to customer care. That if your problem is one, then if your issue is this, then place one. If your issue is this, then place two. Similar to that, if you want this problem to be solved, click on button one. If you want this problem to be solved, click on the button, this particular button. Right? So solve the logarithmic equation. Let's say log x is equal to 3, and then it is just providing me the solution for the same. Right? And it looks very nice. Right? Usually, right, professors give full marks if the step by step explanation is given like this. Right? So hopefully you appreciate this. That uh, as I have mentioned, that number of PPTs are too many, so we can't go for demo of each and every. Depending upon your requirement, right? You can just search, right, whatever GPT you want, right? For example, if you want something related to machine learning, you can just like machine learning, right? And then number of custom GPTs will come, and then you can pick the one which you want. For example, this one, and the first one will have the most number of conversation, that is for sure. And you can also see which company has made this, right? And then you can just click on start chat, and then so using custom GPT on chat GPT platform is free, but kind of what do you say, creation will of course take money, right? You need to pay, subscription will be required for it, right? So for example, you can verify this, that now you know how neural network works, right? Thanks to session from Dr. Neetan and ma'am. So you can just verify that whatever it is giving, it's making sense or not, right? So it's talking about forward pass, single neuron learning, activation functions, right? And it's not the end, right? Of course, let's say if you after this, if you would like to know more about any of the things, like for example, I'm interested to know more about transformers, then I can just ask, right? Explain, right? And then I can just give, right? So then it will talk about it. So anyway, the normal ChatGPT can also give answers like this, but this will be more structured, and it will follow some kind of nice prompts which are written specifically to give good answers for this kind of queries. Right. So that's the main difference between custom GPT and our normal ChatGPT. Right. So any questions? I will just wait for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I will demonstrate how we can actually create this kind of custom GPT, and how we can share it with others. So for that, we are going to go for some different platforms. So therefore, I'm taking a break for 1 minute. In case of any questions, you can ask, and then we'll resume after 1 minute. Uh, okay, welcome back. So hopefully I'm audible. So now, as we were talking about nothing but jams. So in the case, okay, so let me just repeat one more time. I hope audio is audible. Can anyone confirm? Just just give some kind of emoji or write yes in chat box if possible. Um, Thank you, Amitji. So now let me just state this that we call this custom GPT if we are on Chat GPT, but the same thing is called jams if we are on Gemini, right? So both the things are same. The core functionality is same. That basically it's about prompt which is going to be private along with some knowledge, right? Along with some files that will be again private, but the interface will be shared. And the core idea is we can kill the repetition. For example, I'm doing some task repeatedly for my domain, so I don't need to remember that prompt because now it is stored somewhere inside that particular GPT. Right? So now what you can do, you can go to this explore gems. I'm just sharing this particular link with you so you can just see some of the existing gems also and create your own. So let me just share this particular link and you can create gem within a couple of minutes, I should say, right? But a good gem, which in case if you want to publish something, then it requires a lot of efforts, right? So I have done both the ways. So let me just explain you with respect to something new. So let me just go with new gem. Okay, so whenever you create on new gem, right? So let me share this link also with you so that you can directly land on this particular page. So once you go over here, the first thing which you should do is give some meaningful name to this particular custom GPT or gem. Right? So for example, I am creating this particular gem which can reply to my email automatically. Right? So if I give some email, then it will reply to it automatically. Right? So I am saying it's email replier. Right? Right? You can give any of the name, right? You can generate gem for, let's say, your creation of MCQs for your particular topic or the creation of examination questions or whatever you want. So just identify the repetitive tasks. For most of us, emails are repetitive, so therefore I'm just using it for demo. What is the description of this gem? I can and as you can see, the changes which I am making, those will be reflected on the right hand side. Right hand side is nothing but it's kind of preview. So description is this is nothing but automated email replier, gem or custom GPT, whatever I say. Okay. The most important part is instruction. Now, uh, ideally you need to follow create framework, right? So I can say maybe if I want I can just take advantage of something which I already have, but let me just write it from scratch, right? I can say assume a role of an expert writer who writes nice professional email with formal tone, right? So this is nothing but my character. Then I can also give some kind of request. Your task is to generate or reply to emails of Dr. Let's say this is for me, so I'm just writing my name, uh, right? For his day-to-day professional work including let's say I can write some day-to-day work like confirmation of meeting, right? Meeting with students, right? Then acceptance of invitation for whatever it is, right? Invited talk or whatever, invited talk proposal. Right? So it can be anything. Right? Is since I know about myself, so I'm just writing like this, right? Ensure you follow his tone and style as per attached demo PDFs. So what I can do, ideally, I should just create one PDF which contains all my previous emails so that it can follow it. But you will see one nice button over here. Use Gemini to rewrite instruction. This will help us because now if I just click on this particular button, then magic will happen. Let me just click it, right? So you can see now it's processing my prompt and will make it even better, right? So can you see a lot of uh, things have been added by this Gemini itself, right? So it has completed my prompt, right, as per its training, right? It's as per my professional background. It's assuming some things and writing it. I can go through it, okay? And as you can see, do not use slang and do not use overly casual language. I agree to it, right? So it's a kind of completing the prompt with enhancement, right? It's a very nice feature to have because you don't need to complete it fully. You can just go through it, right? What it has given to you, and ideally, if I so this was the third part, right? If you can go back and recall the name of the custom gem, then one line brief outline about it. Then these are the actual instructions based on which it will work. And apart from that, you can see knowledge. So in knowledge, if I click on plus, then you can see those two options. I can upload something from my files or I can add something from my drive also, right? So let's say for now this much is sufficient, and I just let me just call it email reply pro, okay? And then let me just save this. And then this will be stored in my gems, and let's see how good it is, right? So what I'm going to do, I will just tell it to write an formal email to student name whose name is let's say Parth, about meeting on Monday 10 a.m. at my office, and suggest some uh, prior reading to him before meeting about, let's say my work is on graph neural network, so I'm just suggesting that, okay? So now let's see how good it generates, okay? So you can see meeting confirmation discussion on graph neural network. Dear Mr. Parth, this corresponds serves formally confirm our upcoming meeting to discuss graph neural networks. Meeting time has been kind of date. I can date, of course, it cannot be. I have to mention explicitly. So as you can see, it's also not only just it's kind of giving this thing, it's also giving some specific things which must be known by the student before coming to the meeting with respect to GNN. Foundation concepts of GNN, specifically focusing on the structure of GNNs and mechanism of message passing, strong understanding of core architecture, aggregation functions, all these things. So now, how can I refine this? Can anyone imagine? This is fine. This is not bad. In the first iteration, we got very nice response. But let's say frequently many students are coming to me and I need to write this kind of emails even more. Then what all things I can do with respect to improvement of this custom gen? Again, if I go back to my original kind of, I should say, window of custom gem, then again, I can still edit it. It's not like that whatever you have made, it's there for permanently. You can change it. So what changes you recommend to make it even better? If we just consider the first task, like I need to frequently give this kind of information to my students, what all things I can do to make it even better? Should I add some learning material to this particular gem? Will it help me? For example, should I add some GNN papers of my own, or should I add some prompt? Uh, should I edit the prompt and mention explicitly that these are the readings which you need to recommend to students whenever they come to me for the specific objective? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Right? We can add presentation or a list of textbooks with table of contents, right? Very good answer, Bhavnaji, right? Of course, we can do this. So basically, you need to kind of, it's not, it's again iterative process. Design of custom gem or custom GPT, it's not one time thing. So basically, of course, it will remain one time thing once you complete those iterations. But before that, you you should be. It's just like Japanese people, right? They consider all the possibilities before the start of the actual execution, right? They consider all the scenarios. So similarly, we have to consider all the possible scenarios with respect to this particular custom gem. What all kinds of requests we are going to give to this particular platform, and what is the ideal response which we expect, and we just need to describe that particular response. And I believe that teachers are the best prompters because we are very good with explaining to even human beings, so we can explain to AI, which seemingly has less intelligence than humans for sure, right? So hopefully you got the idea that how we can refine this even further. And I didn't do it fully, right? Of course, I'm just giving you some insights that these facilities are available. Even many of us don't know that this is there. So that was the motivation. And then how we can kind of build upon them, right? So how we can utilize them actually. And let's say you design something which is extremely kind of successful, then I guess before I guess around 40 days only, they have introduced this new option of sharing. So now what you can do, let's say this custom gem is extremely good and it's working very nice with respect to your use cases, and you feel that maybe one of your colleague can utilize the kind of idea of this particular custom gem, then you can just give access to him or her, right? Just by, for example, if I just add name of Tyagi sir, and then if I give rights of editor, then if I just click send, then he will be also able to use the same custom gem, right? So this is how you can do it. If you want it to make it kind of public, then you can do this kind of thing, share, and then instead of restricted, you can say anyone with the link will be able to access this particular custom gem. And then you can give rights editor or viewer, right? So I'm going with viewer option. And now if I share that particular link with you, then you will be able to see that and interact with this particular custom gem. So for example, let me just give this particular link to you, and I can demonstrate this by opening this in some other account, maybe over here. Let me just go and paste this particular link, right? So if sharing works, yeah, so you can see I can interact with this even from some different account, right? This is my other account, and I can see this interface like this, and I can interact with this, right? So you can see the possibilities with this. Let's say you have designed one nice gem for your students, and you can just share it with them via uh, nothing but this link, and you just give that particular right that anyone can get access if they have link, right? And of course you can interact with it, right? So any queries about custom gems, right? And why I am talking about custom gems, not custom GPTs? The process of creating even custom GPTs are same, but like I mentioned, you need paid account, right? At least plus subscription for it, and this you can do for free because Gemini, at least for now, it's available for free, all of us. So that's how it works. And if you want to learn even more about this, then you can just go to, maybe I can showcase from over here. You can just go to gems and see some of the existing gems, right? For example, chess champ. This is also one more kind of gem, which was designed by Gemini itself. And it's just help kind of people to learn chess, right? So maybe I can just talk about my move and then it will guide me, right? Whether it's making sense or not. Or maybe we can just play with this particular tool, chess, and then it will guide us to for improvement, right? So that's how it works. Okay, now maybe I can just talk about some of the underrated features of ChatGPT itself, uh, so that you can utilize it even better. So the most important feature which you should use is personalization. So in personalization, you can see there is one custom instruction. So custom instruction means these are the instructions which will be kind of given, or maybe it will be appended for every prompt. So whatever you want to kind of have in terms of short, kind of one can say shortcuts, or maybe you want some kind of specialization, for example, or customization. For example, I am saying you can call me Maipal. So because of this instruction, it's going to call me Maipal, right? And nickname is also there. Ideally, it should be consistent, right? So I can also mention about that. So as much information if you provide over here, then it will be kind of able to behave nicely whenever you talk with it, because it will remember all these things, your preferences, and you don't need to repeat them in every prompt. So you can go for, again, let me just explain how to go there. You just need to click on your icon, your name, and then you will see a lot of options. Click on personalization, and then you can see we are talking about the third option, personalization itself, and then you get all these options, irrespective of whether you are using free version or paid version. And then you can see reference saved memories. So from whatever conversations we had with Chat GPT, it will have some kind of memory, right? It will take some key takeaways from that particular interaction and save it inside it. And then if you click on manage, then you will be able to see all those kind of things which ChatGPT remembers about you, right? And if you want, you can erase some of those things if you feel that's personal or maybe it's not relevant, it won't be helpful to future conversation. So you can just pick those memories and erase it, right? So that's how it works. And for now, reference chat history, I have turned it on. So that means what will happen? It will remember the previous conversation also, and I also turned this on, reference saved memories. So it will also remember all the past conversations or maybe key insights from those past conversations, right? So memories is something personal, means it will try to guess personality of the user. That is about memory. And chat history is more about diversity of topics on which you are kind of asking questions. So chat history will be useful for recommending topics, right? Because nowadays, if you go for chat GPT, then it also kind of recommends you based on kind of what you are kind of interacting with it, right? So if you kind of autocomplete will be also suggested, and if you are on app, then it will also suggest that you can ask this particular question, right? So for those things, the kind of history will help it to predict. And the second thing is about memory reference. So it can remember our preferences from the past or key insights from the past and whatever we have shared with these models, right? So you have to be careful. You ideally you should kind of revisit this personalization, and then you should also clean your memory every now and then, right? Whatever you want to erase, you should erase it, right? So that's how it works. Apart from that, there are some connectors also, right? So they can also help you, right? Fine. Okay. So that is there. Let me just talk about something else. Apart from all this, there is one more new feature which is called branch in new chat. So this will be helpful when you want to, like for example, here it's kind of linearly we are going, right? Now one response is given, and in response to response, we are going to say just one thing. But imagine a scenario where in the response, I want to see multiple options. Right? For example, I can first, let's say ChatGPT has given in the answer that you have two options, option one and option two. So I would like to explore both the options in detail. I would like to ask what will happen if I continue with option one, right? And in the next window, I would like to have what will happen if I go with option two, and then I will decide. I want to decide that which option is good for me. So for that particular purpose, you can just click on branch in new chat. So then what will happen? A new window will be created, and then it will have the same conversation up to this particular point. And now you can see branch it from whatever the title of the faults in our that was the title of the original kind of thread. So this branching has been created over here, and now I can continue. So in some sense, when you want to do some kind of decision-making work with the help of Chat GPT, you can just go for this particular branching new chat option also, which is kind of slightly underrated but useful. Of course, read aloud is there, but it's not usually kind of used by many of us. One more interesting feature is you may complain that, sir, this the create framework is extremely good, but it takes a lot of time to write so many things. So for that particular purpose, there is one dictate option is also there. If you look at into the middle option, dictate. So if I click on it and then whatever I say, it will capture it very fast, right? For example, I can just go with one particular task. So I can just let me just try to demonstrate this. Assume a role of good writer who writes concise and readable text without filler words, and you write interestingly, and that too in very brief. I would like you to summarize book Faults in Our Stars. I don't remember the name of the author, but just summarize it in five important key points and give me one sentence summary of the entire book. And keep your words formal. Okay. And once I click on this OK button, whatever I have said, it will be converted into text and I can just click on enter. Right. So now you cannot complain that create framework requires a lot of writing. You can just do it with your words, right? And still get the same outcome. Right. So I'm not sure how many of you were using this earlier, but it's a fantastic feature to have. Dictate, right? And you can see the quality of it. Whatever I have said, it has captured it very nicely. Right? I cannot find a single mistake in the kind of conversion. Right? So if you follow all of this, then right, in some sense you will become pro user of ChatGPT, right? Even without plus or pro subscription. So you can see it's also giving this one sentence summary of the entire book. One more interesting feature is Ask ChatGPT. For example, I would like to explore this particular point of the story. Then once I select it, then I get this particular button, Ask ChatGPT. So if I click on it, then I can ask to only that particular segment of the text which I have selected. And now I can ask that I would like to know more about this or maybe explain this in detail. Right? And then I get what I want. So this will be kind of very handy when you would like to expand on portion of the response given by ChatGPT. All you need to do is currently it's not activated because the response is under process. But once the response is completed, you can just select a portion and then automatically that ask ChatGPT button will come and it's very handy. For example, over here, right? You can see it hopefully, right? If I want to explore this, I can just hold and then again that particular option will come. Any queries up to this point related to ChatGPT? Any features if you want me to discuss? Okay, fine. So no queries. Fine, good. So then maybe I should go ahead and talk about some other tool which can be of help. So what I will do, I have around 30 minutes more. So in the first 15 minutes, I will demonstrate one more tool which is kind of underrated and useful. And in the remaining 15 minutes, we'll quickly talk about Matplotlib. So the tool which I'm going to talk about is called Umata, right? So I'm sharing the link of this particular tool in the chat box so that you can also refer to it. And this is mainly for interactive reading. And for ChatGPT, people may complain that it hallucinates. Hallucinate means it generates something which is not true. So how to verify that whatever is generated by AI that is actually correct? And many of the times we upload a lot of PDFs and then tell AI to generate something based on those things. But how will you verify? Will you open all those PDF and read line by line? Then effectively it will be that same amount of time that we are not saving anything. So this particular Umata tool encourage kind of interactive reading in AI era, right? So let me try to explain this. So as you can see, first you can upload anything. You can upload PDF, you can upload PPT, you can upload doc file, you can even upload YouTube video, you can upload website, whatever you want. And this has power of both, power of your traditional AI as well as power of traditional learning, both. Right? So traditional reading, I should say. Right? So let's say I have uploaded my research papers to this, or maybe I can start with something simpler. Let's say I've uploaded some file from chemistry. I'm very weak in chemistry in reality also. So let's say I would like to revise something from this particular book. And you can see, yes, this is not related to GPT. It's a different tool for interactive reading, like I mentioned. Right. So how this promotes interactive reading? First, we get this nice kind of window which you can kind of lift to left hand side or right hand side depending upon your requirement. On the left hand side, you will get power of AI, and on the right hand side, you will get power of normal traditional reading. Right. So that is the first thing. The second thing is whatever I ask, for example, I'm asking this, what is the atomic weight of lithium? Then not only it gives me the answer, along with the answer, you can see it's giving me citation. So if I click on this particular citation, then let's see what will happen. You will see something in yellow color, right? This was very kind of just one line, therefore you couldn't see maybe. But usually, right, with any of the answer, it will also kind of highlight. Now you will be able to see properly that once I'm clicking on this kind of citation, it's you can see some text is blinking in yellow color on the right hand side. So that is nothing but verification that whatever is claimed in this particular sentence, from where it has picked it up. Right. So for example, if I'm clicking on one, then you can see from over here it has picked this up. And if I just read this, then basically both of them are talking about the same thing. Right? If you read problem 3.1 and response of it, and if you read what I've asked and response of it, then you will be able to relate that it's actually correct. So this is very much helpful for kind of, one can say, verification that whatever we are generating with AI is actually kind of based on the material which we are providing, right? It's very good for revision. And there can be a number of use cases. Can you give me one more use case of this with respect to maybe teaching or research? Where else we can use this? Do you agree this is useful for interactive non-linear reading? Because I don't need to read this entire kind of document. I can just play with this. I can ask the questions which I am not familiar with. Right? I can ask about some concepts uh, in which I am weak, and this tool will guide me that what is the correct answer. And not only it will give me the correct answer, it will also highlight the corresponding portion from the PDF. So I can go and read those things again. So it will save your time in some sense, right? Yes, I answer script evaluation by AI, right? That can be one nice use case. On the right hand side, we have answer sheet, and on left hand side, we ask some question, and then based on that, it gives us the response. You can also use this in the classroom. Let's say you see one particular sentence, and then you take a pause whether this particular sentence is true or false, and before then you press enter, and then the Umata will give you the answer, so that you can create that kind of suspense in the class. Revision purpose, right? You can also generate this kind of questions, create 5 MCQs with correct answers based on the PDF, right? So then it's not only generating the question, also generating the answers. And then I'm also asking for, of course, references. So if I click on those references, then automatically I can verify just by going at those yellow places, right? Let me quickly showcase a couple of more interesting use cases of this. Not only you can upload one PDF, you can upload more than one PDF and interact with folder instead of interacting with kind of, one should say, just one PDF. For example, over here, I uploaded my research papers, right? Two of the research papers, and then I can go with ask all option. So if I go to ask all, that means I can interact with both the PDFs in one go, right? You can see on this particular screen, okay, on the right hand side, if I go to, if I click on this previous button, then I got the first PDF of paper. If I click on this particular next button, then I got the second PDF. And now I can get all kind of comparison. I can get all kind of novelty, right? Whatever I would like to do with respect to these two papers, I can get just by asking questions on the left hand side. So left hand side is just like our chat GPT, right? But the only difference is this tool is specifically designed to give response primarily based on the material which we are providing, right? So it won't hallucinate. And you can quickly verify that whatever it's giving, you can just quickly click on those buttons. You can go through those portions which are highlighted. You can read them again. You can be sure that it's correct actually, right? So that's how it works. So for example, over here, I'm giving some answers. Then for each answer, it's also giving me some kind of citation. And if I ask something new, then it will make more sense. So for example, over here, I've asked about top two contributions. So it has given me this. And along with that, I can just click on those buttons so that I can verify that whether the claim is actually correct or not. Right? Like that, it works. Okay. So you can see a lot of applications over here. You can also use this for curriculum design. So for example, here quickly I will showcase how we can use it. So for example, curriculum development, I will go and I have uploaded three different files. Two of them are related, one is unrelated. Two contains syllabus of generative AI. One contains syllabus of English, which is not required for my particular purpose, but still I have uploaded it just to showcase you that this model or tool will use only the things which is required. It won't use everything, right? So now what I've done, I've asked design 10 weeks long course based on the, so how I want to focus on left hand side. So let me just increase the bit over here. Design 10 weeks long course based on attached files on generative AI. Give me week-wise content for the same. Make sure you add all the relevant topics from the attached files, right? So then it's giving me this topic one, and from where it is picking up, I can click on this one, and you can see it's also changing the file. It's picking this from file number 2, and then I can go through, right, what it has picked it up from this highlighted portion, right? So it's very easy to verify, right, our generation, right? I can click on this 4, and then after some time, right, it must reflect, right, from where it's picking up, right? So again, it's a same thing, therefore it's not changing. But if I click on 3, then of course it will change, right, like this. So this is how you can do so. Now, there are some other interesting things about this. Again, there are just like temperature. Here also we can change the temperature, but the terminology is different. So let me try to uh, kind of showcase that how you can change the settings of this. So if I kind of here you can see there are 3 different modes over here: grounded, balanced, and creative. Right? Answer approach is important for us. If you keep the answer approach grounded, then as you can see, the most of the answers will be based on the documentation for precise answers. So that means it will cite documents only, and the answers will be based on the facts which we have given on the material. So if material is correct, then answer is correct. Balance means most of the things will be answered based on the material which we have provided, but Umata may add some extra insights for details. And creative is just like temperature is equal to 2. So it will be loosely based on the material which we have provided, right? And it will generate many stuff which is not there in real, right? So you can decide depending upon your use case. But I recommend grounded mode, right? You can notice that earlier the mode was creative, but that was just for demonstration purpose. The usual mode must be grounded. And if you don't want to switch between different tools and you want some kind of completion in some of the tasks, then you can go for even balance mode. That is also fine. But creative is not encouraged over here, because unless you are using it for writing some kind of story or something which is not real, then it will. Apart from that, you can also see there are 3 different modes with respect to answers: fast mode, visual mode, thinking mode. It's just like in our normal Chat GPT or Gemini, we all have this kind of thinking mode. So compare these 2 scenarios. You are having, let's say you are working on a research problem, then you can take some time to think and you can answer. But versus, let's say you are invited to, let's say, Coffee with Karan show, and rapid fire round is there. So then you don't have much time, that you have to answer very quickly. So similar to that, in the fast mode, the answer will be very fast, but it may not be correct, right? For if your question is difficult. So if you feel that your whatever questions you are going to ask, they will be kind of more advanced or research oriented. You can see that along with these options, it's also giving you insights in which scenario you should go for which mode. So use for most advanced questions and documents. Fast mode is for fast responses, and in between there is some visual mode is also there for visual understanding and complex questions. So depending upon your need, you can play with this 3 modes in terms of answer engine, and you can also have some kind of custom prompt which will be applicable to all your queries, right? So this is also a very fantastic tool. Some level of reading you can promote with the help of this Umata tool, where as you can see, the main benefit is you get this kind of nice interface side by side, and it also supports different languages apart from I should say normal English, right? So I had tried with, I guess, Gujarati and Hindi, so it worked. Right? For example, on the right hand side, I uploaded my CV. It was very old CV of mine, but on the left hand side, you can notice that I have interacted with it, and it's giving answer even in terms of Hindi, right? So that is also good, right? And also in terms of Gujarati. Of course, it's not up to date in terms of correct Gujarati or Hindi spellings, I should say. But still, something is good than nothing, and we are getting this for free, so it's fine. Means even this much variation in terms of language, which is good. Right? So, any questions about Umata? If not, then I will move to the last segment, that which is nothing but matplotlib. You can write it in the our comment, or I should say chat section, sorry. So I will wait for 1 more minute and then we'll talk about. Meanwhile, I'm just opening that particular matplotlib document. So let me just see whether something is remaining with respect to our core aspect or not, and then we'll talk about matplotlib. Okay, so if I go to my slides, okay, so all of this we have discussed, all of these things. We have discussed about custom GPTs also, right? So we can go through this. This is fine. And some things which you need to consider while designing custom GPTs or custom gems. For example, guardrails. This is important uh, for safety, right? Because sometimes, let's say your custom GPT is providing some kind of discount, and then you give discount to someone who is not eligible, right? So those kind of things must not happen. And you should talk about, means you should give some kind of instruction that answer only the questions which are relevant to the main kind of domain of the GPT, main purpose, right? Other things you can, GPT must not answer to other things, right? So those type of guardrails you must, safety, right? Safety features you must put in terms of prompt, right? So that's what we are trying to say. And these are some of the nice examples of custom GPTs. Apart from Python ki Pathshala, you can check Scholar GPT, Code Copilot, right? And purposely, I put Code Copilot just to kind of tell you that there are many custom GPTs for Python programming or kind of code generation. Right? I'm not talking about ethical aspects, right? Maybe Dr. Dinesh will talk about it, but I'm just saying that these things are available. Right? And then we have talked about Python, this Humata also, as you can see, document summarization, instant question answer, content generation, all of these are applications, right? And division, identification of key terms, right? Practice problem generation, MCQ generation, all of these are nothing but kind of examples of Humata, which you can utilize in the classroom. Okay, fine. Of course, you can also share Humata notebook. Right? That feature is also there. Now let's talk about Matplotlib before we conclude this session. So as, and of course this has been kind of in some sense covered, but okay, so I'm sorry, but I'm not using Zotero, so I won't be able to comment on it. Uh, Maybe you can give us some insights after the session how Zotero is useful, and then we can see, right, which one is better. So it's not about tool. I feel that it's more about use case. So if you feel that Zotero and Umata both are offering same kind of functionality, then you can go for Zotero also. So it's not. Uh, we can ask ChatGPT. No, if you want to ask this kind of thing, then Perplexity is better, not ChatGPT, because these things, right? This is a personal thing, right? I may like Zuma, let's say Umata, but Tyagi sir may like Zotero, right? Even though both of them are having same functionality and our day-to-day use cases are also same, so it's personal thing. So what we can do, if you, I can quickly demonstrate how we should resolve this. We can go to Perplexity. In Perplexity, there is one option. You can see this world, and I can turn this social mode on. So social is corresponding to discussions and opinions. So what people are telling about this particular thing, right? I can turn this on. I don't want academic answers. It's fine. Web is fine. And now I can just say, right, Humata versus Zotero, right? Pros and cons, and based on discussions on social media, which one is good or better for teaching learning purpose. Let's say our purpose is this. Okay. And then I can go for this research mode also. So then I get even better insights. Let's see. So whenever you want to know that what people are thinking and what is the general opinion about something, then Perplexity is better as compared to, of course, ChatGPT also has this functionality. It can access to web. But this is specifically designed in reverse manner, right? So ChatGPT first tries to generate a response by its own, and then, if required, it refers to web pages. Whereas Perplexity first will refer to the existing web pages, and based on those relevant web pages, it will generate the response. So, of course, we will prefer Perplexity if something is of this nature, right? So we have to wait for, I guess, around 30, 40 seconds more. It's telling us 2 minutes, but usually it takes more less than that, right? So for now, it's just kind of going through a lot of sources, and I can see number of sources are less. So it just showcases that not a lot of people are using these tools, right? Otherwise, that we get very okay. So as you can see over here, this is for document analysis and AI-powered question answer tool. Zotero is for reference management and citation tool, right? So the objective is kind of entirely different. Here we are talking about analysis of document in terms of question answer utilizing models like GPT-4, whereas in Zotero, the focus is more on citation management, right? And now you can just compare them side by side. What are the kind of pros and cons in terms of primary strength? Zotero is for citations. This is for fast summarization, AI-powered question answer, instant insights, so on and so forth. So it's upon your use case, as you can see. If you don't want citations, then you can go for Umata. And if you want to manage citations with respect to some research papers, then you should go for Zotero. So again, as you can see, Zotero is mainly for research papers, whereas Umata can be for anything, right? It's about, right? So maybe I can zoom this so that you can read it. So you can upload anything on Umata, but Zotero is mainly for citations. So you must kind of talk about some research papers in it. Right? So, but I feel that Zotero seems more popular, right? In some sense. Okay, so in conclusion, we can read, right, what, so you can see what people are saying about this too in Reddit, right? We can go through all of those things, and finally we can decide, right? So choose Zotero if you want to do all these things, right? So it's mainly towards research, as you can see, research methodology, proper citation, collaboration in terms of course, multiple users are kind of accessing research, same research papers. And this is, as I mentioned earlier, interactive reading. If you want to promote, then go for Umata and speed up document completion. So it's more about what is your use case. Both are good, right? We can see, right? Fine. Thank you for your question. Now we can talk about the last aspect of the talk, which is about matplotlib. So it's we won't spend much time on this. We'll just quickly see what all types of plots are available. And syntax are very easy, means you can get it very easily. But the core part is in which scenario which plots are useful, right? Those things you need to kind of think and see. So let me just connect this, and then we'll see one by one, like 4 to 5 different types of plots at least. And some of these are anyway covered in my previous talk, ADA, but let's see this separately also, right? So first is called line plot. All of you know what is line plot is. Where we will be talking about some kind of line, y is equal to mx plus c, those kind of things if we talk about. So as you can see here, we are going to use one of the function of numpy, a range. Hopefully you remember a range function. It's just specifying what is the range on the x-axis. In this particular case, it's from 1 to 30. So let me run this, and then if I just print the type of x, then it's nothing but array. And then this is my function, y is equal to 4x plus 5, and this is what I'm going to plot. Okay, so for that particular purpose, uh, for plotting, plt.plot is the function which we are going to use, and we need to just specify what should be there on x-axis and what should be on y-axis. So on x-axis, x can be anything, but in our case it will be from 1 to 30, and on y-axis we have already specified y is equal to nothing but 4x, right? 4x plus whatever the number is, 4x plus 5, right? And now, as you can see, we got this particular simple line graph, right? So whenever you have this kind of linear relation, right, you can just go for this kind of line plot. Of course, you can do some kind of customization. You can change the title, you can change the axis names, labels, color, style, marker, shape, all these things you can modify. So as you can see, I've added the title labels. So now instead of kind of blank image, I got this, that this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and overall we are talking about line plot. Then you can see over here, I'm also giving color to the dots. Color is red, so we will get red type of dots. And then style is like kind of column, and then line width is 10. So let me run this. See, we got this. But if I change this value to 15, then you can imagine what will happen. The points that they will look even bigger, right? So that's, or squares will look even bigger. And you can change the color also. Instead of R, I could give B. So all of these are very tiny things. So I guess I should not explain them in too much depth. You can see that we can do this kind of personalization. So line width is 2, so then dots are appearing very, very small. So it's obvious from the name, right? You can also plot multiple plots in just simultaneously. For example, again, range is 1 to 10, but two different lines are there. Y is equal to x and y is equal to 3x. And let's plot both of them together. So the first plot will be in green color, second plot will be in red color. I don't need to change anything with respect to labels, because again, it's a still line plot, but both of them will appear together, as you can see. So, right. So this is good for comparison purpose, right? So if you want to compare two different functions, then we can go for this kind of plotting. Then, as you can see, you can have similar kind of things side by side also, right? So subplot, you need to call for this particular function, plot dot subplot, and 3 cross 2 cross 1. This is part 1 of the image. This is part 1 of our chart, right? So like that, you can go for it. And the other syntax is as it is, plt dot plot, same function we are using. All you need to do is, whenever you call this particular function, you need to pass the argument. What is the value of x? What is the value of y? Color, style, right? All those things you have to width, right? And then it will work. Next important one is bar plot. So when you want to compare some kind of different categories together, then this kind of bar plot is kind of makes sense. So basically, if you can read this, it's you have different salesperson and you would like to just compare their performance, or maybe you have different products in your company and you would like to just find out which product has how much sell value. Then you can just go for this kind of bar plot. It's very easy. For example, over here, I've created this for comparison of marks for which are 4 students have been considered and their marks have been written. And then we are just passing this PLT. The name of the function is bar, and we are just calling this x and y, passing this to as an argument, and we see this kind of bar. And it's very easy, right? Visually, it will be very easy to see that Priya is kind of winner, and in terms of marks, right? Ravi hasn't done well as compared to others, right? So those kind of insights we can. So for quick comparisons, they work nicely. For example, apple and banana, right? We are just counting, right? How many kilos of apple and bananas have been kind of sold. So, right, bar chart. You can also have them in horizontally. So for that particular purpose, you just need to append this h. So bar h stands for horizontal. We will just shift the vertical bars into horizontal. And of course, you can change the color, right? Instead of default, you can give color is equal to something else, for example, red, and then the plot will look different, right? With those colors, right? You can also specify colors in some hexadecimal value, but usually we don't do this because it's difficult to remember this hexa value, but that is also possible. Right? You can also change the width of this kind of bars. For example, over here, if I zoom this, then you can see width is equal to 0.1. If I give some other values, let's say 0.5, then straight away you will be able to see the change that now width has been increased. Right? Histogram, we have already utilized this in the analysis of Titanic, if you can recall. So basically, whenever we have this kind of frequency distribution, we can go for histogram. We just need to specify how many bins are there. And depending upon how many bins are there, interval will be decided, right? So let me just try to showcase this. So as you can see, let's say we are just having this kind of data. What is the age group of people which are coming to our shop? And let's say we are selling primarily toys for children. And then depending upon this kind of distribution, we just want to visualize that what age range people are coming to my shop, so that I can decide at which type of products I should have at my shop and which I can avoid, right? So, and then in this particular case, I'm just going for 12 bins initially. And as you can see, now I get this kind of distribution, right? So you can see the age range. If I change the value in terms of bins, then I will get less number of intervals if I'm increasing the bins, of course. Right? For example, if I go for 24, then the bin will be kind of interval length will be reduced even further, right? So now each value is kind of how many people are of age 1, how many children are of age 2, so on and so forth, right? So whenever you would like bigger interval, it's preferable to have less number of bits. That's how it works primarily, right? So, and then you can do this kind of interval analysis that primarily all the children who are between age 0 to 5, they are coming, so I should have more products for them, right? So those kind of analysis you can do from this. One more interesting chart is pie chart. So whenever you have something in full and you would like to showcase its subcategory, then this makes sense. Like for example, let's say you have something in 100 proportion. Like for example, we have all of us have 24 hours in a day. And how we are utilizing this 24 hours, this we have to demonstrate. Then pie chart is the best for it because then different pies will represent different purpose or different activity of the day. Right? For example, over here, so you have to be sure that if you combine all those things, then something will become whole, right? For example, if you want to showcase distribution of your students with respect to branch, or maybe placement distribution with respect to branch, then pie chart makes more sense, right? So as you can see, if you sum these values 4, 8, 6.5, 3, 2.5, then you will get 24. So it's a distribution of 24 hours in a day. But from this, we don't get much insight. So I must specify which kind of segment is for what. So for that particular purpose, I have taken one more list and I'm just giving names that this one is for work, this one is for sleep, exercise, eat, social media, so on and so forth. And then I'm providing this labels also along with passing the value of pi. So now you can easily see that how my day has been kind of distributed in terms of hours, right? And now if I want to kind of showcase one particular prominent eye from this entire kind of circle, then I can give this kind of my explode, right? You can give any variable name over here, whatever. Let's say k. K is equal to this 0.300, 0.500, right? And whatever value you give, depending upon that much spacing you can see between center and that particular pi. For example, here 0.3 is over here, so this is the gap between center and work is proportional to 0.3. And if you see, then gap between eating and center is roughly around zero point 0.5, right? So this is just to showcase or highlight some slice of our entire pie chart prominently, right? And finally, there is one more plot which is called scatter plot. So I can just give you one example to showcase how it works. So the idea is, let's say you have two brands of cars and you just check their performance after, let's say, uh, in terms of mileage or speed after a couple of years. And you just want to see that which brand is performing how well, right? So for example, usually what will happen if number of years are more, then the speed will be less. For example, over here, after 12 years, speed is becoming less and less. But there is some person who is having even better mileage or speed even after 16 years. So maybe the company can go and ask to that particular person how you are taking care of your vehicle, right? So those kind of application one can go for with respect to this. So over here you can see maybe the first is corresponding to brand one, second is corresponding to brand two, and then you can compare which brand is doing well in terms of mileage even after number of years of usage, right? So this kind of specific applications you can go for with the help of scatter plot, right? So if you go ahead and read the description one more time, then you will be able to see that main objective is to outlier detection, right? So we will be able to find out some data points which are not following the trend, and then we can just get insights from them, right? How that is happening and or why that is happening, right? So this is how it works. So primarily, these are the plots which we usually apply when we talk about matplotlibs, and that's it. So these are my contact details. In case of any other questions, you can contact me afterwards. Thank you. Yes, we will provide those information afterwards, I guess, because the next session will begin very soon. So we'll share those insights. Maybe I will just append that in the existing notebook and share it with you. Okay, any questions? We'll just wait for a couple of minutes. If any, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll break for, I guess, 5 minutes and then continue for the next session. Okay, thank you, Amitjit. Okay, just a second.